You're an outspoken supporter of Israel. Why do you think there's so much hate, especially from the left, of the only Jewish state on the planet?
I think you've answered your own question there. I never call myself pro-Israel. I call myself anti-Israel. In the same way, I don't call myself pro-American or pro-Kurdistan or even pro-British, really. I'm not necessarily pro-nations, but I'm very interested when particular nations become hate figures. And that has happened so dramatically with Israel in a way that needs an explanation. You're right to pose the question of saying, why is there so much hostility to the only Jewish state on earth? Because that's the question. And I think the answer is in there too. Because, when I see, it's really bizarre, Turkey can do the most obscene things to the Kurds, and it does, and it has done this year, absolutely obscene things to the Kurds in Syria and in Turkey itself. And the left in this country just is fast asleep. It doesn't even notice most of the time. And then Israel does Israel sneezes and they're on the streets in their thousands screaming and burning the Israeli flag and holding up swastikas and saying that Israel is the new Nazis and Gaza is the new Warsaw Ghetto. And you just think to yourself, right, stop. We need an explanation for this, the visceral nature of this hatred, the knee-jerk nature of this hatred, and the speed with which Holocaust imagery is marshaled towards their hatred of Israel. I think, my personal view, I would always maintain a moral distinction between being anti-Zionist and being anti-Semitic. They are potentially different things. You can be a critic of Zionism, and it doesn't mean you're an anti-Semite. However, the line between those two things is getting smaller and smaller all the time, and that's the thing that worries me. And I think one of the reasons there is such hot-headed hostility towards Israel is because the old, ugly anti-Semitic arguments of the 1930s and the 1940s are now being revisited through the spectre of being anti-Israel. That's fundamentally what I think has happened, and what people used to say about the Jews, they now say about Israel. All of that stuff has been refashioned through the Israel issue, the blood libel, the idea that the Jews control the world, the idea that they are puppeteering Western politics and all politics essentially, the idea that they are the greatest threat to global peace. These were fundamental views of racist anti-Semitism in the past. Now they are the same views that are expressed through being anti-Israel, that they have this love of killing people, particularly children, that they are the greatest threat to world peace, that the Israel lobby is controlling British politics and American politics and all Western politics. It's the same old conspiracy theories, it's the same old hatred. So I'm increasingly concerned about the way in which hostility to Israel has become a supposedly acceptable way of expressing hostility towards Jewish people. And I think the left needs to have a serious word with itself about the extent to which it's making Jewish people or the Jewish state into a scapegoat for the problems of the world.